You've got to pull the trigger when you are ready. Hear me again. You've got to pull that trigger when you are ready. So, Tranett, what does it mean to pull the trigger when I'm ready? When you've been pre-approved, friend, you cannot sit on your approval. You've got to move forward and you have to make haste. You don't want to jeopardize life happening and then you're no longer able to buy. So my name is Tranett and you're listening to Car Conversations with the Realtor. I just sometimes pull over when I have these random thoughts that I need to share with my people, and you're my people. So today's video, I want to talk to you and encourage you not to wait when you've been pre-approved. So listen, friend, you've worked hard to get to this place of being pre-approved. You've gotten your credit to where it needs to be. You have stable income. You have your debts manageable. You have student loans if you have any. You have those manageable. You've done everything the right way and you've gotten a yes from the bank. That's what we all want to hear. We all want to hear, congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. You have been pre-approved. That's music to our ears. But then once you get the pre-approval letter, what's next? What do? You can't afford to sit on it because life happens. And I just want to share with you some examples of what I mean by this. I've had so many buyers, and this is not to push you or to throw you out there, because I don't know you personally, so I don't have any skin in the game whether you buy now or you wait until 3 years from now. But I want to encourage those that are on the verge of becoming a homeowner in 2025 that I don't want you to wait, because life happens and it happens to all of us. So I've had buyers who've had pre-approval letters and they feel like because I've been pre-approved, then I can just buy whenever I want to buy. So they're not necessarily motivated buyers. They can buy, they know they can buy, but they're going to do it on their own time. And that's fine. You should do it absolutely when you're ready. But when life happens, then it can derail your approval. So what do I mean by that? Emergencies happen. Car trouble happens. You get sick, you get ill, a family member gets sick, a spouse, you may die, or you may have a divorce. So it is critical that you go ahead and you take advantage of your approval once you are approved. Now, for those of you who don't know yet, once you've been approved, approval letters are usually good for 60 days up to 90 days. It just depends on the banking institution who approved you. But at max, most approval letters are only good for 90 days. Now, if you don't find a house within 90 days, certainly it will expire and you can get a renewed, updated approval letter, depending on not anything changing. So you don't lose your job, you don't max out your credit. If everything remains the same, then if you didn't find a house in 90 days, then you just go back to the lender and they will reissue you an updated approval letter for the next 90 days. So that's easy, that's doable. But what happens when you lose your job, or you have to get another job, but the next job doesn't pay as much as the last job, or someone gets sick? So here's an example. I have a client who, when she brought her first home, she was a single mom, all boys, brought a nice home that was affordable for her and her children. And somewhere along the way, she decided to sell that house and move into an apartment. And then she met a guy and she got married. And I just talked to her the latter part of 2024, so just a couple of months ago, and she had gotten pre-approved. Her and the new husband had gotten pre-approved, and they were looking to buy a home in March of 2025, so just a couple of months from now. And the purchase price, I think, the approval amount may have been $285,000. So now she has a new husband, and the kids are older now, so they're teenage boys, and they live in an apartment. And she says the apartment is driving her crazy. So she's been excited about starting a new chapter with her husband, moving into a brand new home, and then getting out of that apartment so her and the boys can have some space. Well, I followed up with her just yesterday. This is no joke. I followed up with her yesterday to get a jump start on things because March will quickly get here. So I like to, keep my people intact and on a game plan, a timeline. So when I reached out to her and I told her I was excited to get started, she was like, well, Tranett, I'm not going to be able to buy right now because life has happened. Things have changed. One of my sons have gotten in trouble with the law, and now we've had to use monies to try to help him. So she's no longer in a position to even buy a home. Now, that's just a scenario. We don't know what's up ahead. None of us. All we can do is just do the best we can do each day. We can plan. We can put money to the side for emergencies. And if you don't have an emergency fund, friend, I really encourage you to work on building up an emergency fund, at least $1,500 and more if you can do more, but at least $1,500, because when you have these emergencies, these inconveniences, you don't want to have to run to credit because that throws off your debt to income ratio. Now, we can't help emergencies. She had nothing to do with her son getting in trouble with the law, but it affected her approval. Then she told me that she's not even employed with the same job anymore. So I don't even think she's working. But this is what I'm saying. Sometimes we think that when we get the opportunity to buy, then we can just chill and just whenever we're ready. And while that's true, it's also risky because you don't know how that a setback can cause you not to be able to move into a home anymore. I've seen it so many times where, well, Tranett, I'm just going to wait and, I know I can buy and, life is great until something happens, until you have to get a new car. I had another client. He was a pre-approved young man, no kids, single, doing great. I was so proud of this kid. And, we were looking at homes. He was getting ready to make an offer the next day on a home that we had found for him. When we were leaving the house, he had a wreck and totaled out the car. And he has to get back and forth to work, which I understand, but he couldn't buy anymore because he had to add a car payment that he didn't have at first. So that's just another example of life happens. And the longer we wait and we don't capitalize on our approvals, on the opportunity to become a homeowner, if life happens, you may get stuck. You may get trapped. So he had to go back renting the apartment. My other married couple, the newlyweds, they have to sign another lease. They're not even able to get out of that tight, cramped apartment at this time because life has happened. And again, we can't prepare for everything. But what I'm saying is, don't sit around and think that you just have more time. While you do, maybe you don't, because things can just come out of nowhere and blindside you. And then you're no longer in a position where you can make it happen. And of course, you have to have a place to stay. So what does that mean? You're going to sign a lease. You're going to be back into the rent cycle again and again. And if you don't do anything different, then you'll sign another year's lease. And I just don't want that to happen because, again, I've seen it happen so many times. And it's heartbreaking and it's devastating because these people worked so hard to get to the place of getting a yes, only to have the rug snatched out from under them. So it's a little bit, I don't know the word. I don't want to say arrogant, because it's not that you're arrogant, but it's going to hurt if it gets taken away involuntarily. Now, if you have a pre-approval and you're waiting for your lease to expire, then I'm not saying terminate your lease early so you can buy right away. I would love for you to sit on your approval and wait for your lease to expire, and then you buy a home so that you don't have to re-sign a new lease. So I'm not talking about that type of scenario, because that's smart. I'm not telling you to do a buyout and spend thousands of dollars to break a lease so that you can buy a home. That's not the same thing. But what I am saying is that life happens, friend. And I know I keep saying that over and over because it's so true. You know, again, you get sick and now you can't work, or you get downsized and the hours are cut. And I know you're thinking, well, Tranett, if that happens and I already got the mortgage, wouldn't I be better off if I was just renting? Well, if that's your mindset, you can look at it that way. However, it's so much harder to get back to the place of becoming a homeowner than it is to just continue to stay renting. So let's say you do get downsized from your job and you do have this mortgage and it's like, oh man, I shouldn't have bought this house. You know, I remember that girl in that video talking about I should move forward and take advantage of the opportunity. As soon as I buy the house, then I lose my job. I'm not saying that won't happen, because it's possible. However, you still have options. You can always move out of your home. You can keep it. But if you get downsized, let's say you need a break for a year. You know, something happened. You need a break for a year, but you don't want to get rid of your home. You move out, you find you an apartment, and then you rent that house for 12 months. You don't want to lose it to foreclosure. You don't want it to go back to the bank. You just want a temporary pause so that you can regroup, get yourself back together, get your life back on track financially. And then once you're ready, then you move back into your house. Once things have stabilized, you move back into your house. And then if that's not an option, you can always sell the house and get out from under it before it becomes a foreclosure and it tarnishes your credit where you can't buy for years after the foreclosure. So we can't predict the future. None of us can. Only thing we can do, friend, is to make the best decisions with what we have in front of us today. And if you have an approval letter and you've been pre-approved, don't sit on it waiting for interest rates to go down. That may not happen. While you're waiting for rates to go down, rent is steady going up. Are you winning? You're not winning, and nobody can time the market. And I'm telling you from what I've been studying and the people that are way smarter than me on economics, what they're saying, rates are not going to likely go below 5.5% in 2025. So if you're waiting for 3% and 4%, then you are you're wasting money on rent, because what you're looking for may not happen. So you have to buy smart, buy right, and buy as quickly as you're ready to buy, and take advantage of becoming a homeowner sooner versus later, because you don't know. Rates could go up. What if rates go up? We keep talking about we're waiting for them to go down, but let's say they go up. What if they're 8% by the end of this year? Then what? Because here's the thing that I want you to be encouraged about, friend. Even if you buy right now and you take advantage of the opportunity right now and your rate is at 6.5%, if the latter part of this year or mid 2026, the rates are at 4% or 4.5%, all you have to do is call your lender and refinance. And you get the same rate that everybody else is going to get who's waiting. Is going to have competition and likely have higher home prices, because everybody and their mama is going to be buying the house if those rates drop. So you're going to be competing against many more buyers. The inventory is going to be scarce. You right now, if you've been pre-approved and it's on your heart to buy and you're ready, you know that you are ready mentally, you're ready emotionally, and you're ready financially, then don't try to time this market, because you can lose. But if you buy now, you buy smart, you buy right, you buy what you can afford, then if the rates go down, you still don't lose. You still win. You're living in the home you love. You didn't have to compete for it. You got the seller to probably help you pay some of your closing costs, because sellers are open to helping buyers right now because they are desperate to get offers. And maybe desperate is the wrong word, but Houses are sitting on the market much longer, so sellers are willing to compromise and negotiate. So if you've been pre-approved right now, friend, pull the trigger. You got 90 days before it expires. Call the realtor, get out, get to looking, and be diligent about your search, because life happens to all of us. And I've seen so many people end up renting 2, 3, 5 years after they've been pre-approved. And it sucks, because they were right there. They had the yes in their hands. They had it. They had it. But it just felt like a luxury at the time. Oh, I got pre-approved. And it's a pat on the back. And it may be an ego stroke because you did it. And that's great. You should be proud of yourself. But you're not going to be proud if the approval is taken away from you, because life happens. Your kid gets out here and get in trouble. Now you got to spend money on an attorney that you weren't planning to spend money on. Or your car breaks down and now you have to go get a car payment that is at a higher interest rate. Also, if you got to get a car, it's at a higher interest rate. And so now your debt to income ratio is thrown off and you can't even be pre-approved. Or if you get pre-approved, it's not for the same amount. So you're buying a lesser priced home. Okay, so I think I'll wrap it up right there. I just want you to be encouraged to pull the trigger. If you have a yes from the lender, and if you are prepared financially, I want you to get out here and I want you to find you a great home. I want you to sign on it, close on it, move into it, live in it, love it, praise God that you got it, and move on down the road. Don't keep looking at these interest rates. Don't keep waiting for the perfect time. You're not a mind reader. You don't know when the rates are going to go down. I don't know when they're going to go down. I wouldn't dare tell you that they are. I thought they were going to go down before 2024 ended, but they did not. So here we are, 6%. If that's the new normal, then if you're going to buy a home, then you got to get into the new normal. You really don't have that many options. But you do have the safety net of, if they go down, you can always refinance. And when you refinance, that's not near as hard as buying. You don't have closing costs. You don't have a down payment. You just got to do some paperwork. Make sure your credit is still strong. And it will be, because once you become a homeowner and you've made monthly payments on a mortgage, your credit score is going to shoot through the roof. It is going to add maybe 50 points to your credit score. So you won't have to worry about your credit being bad. It's going to be great. So you can easily refinance. So be encouraged, friend. Pull the trigger. If this is your first time watching my videos, or if you've been rocking with me for a couple of videos, this is kind of new to me. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you leaving a comment. If there's something that I can teach you that you are dying to know, but you don't have a realtor that you can call personally, then drop it in the comments. I would love to answer questions for you. I am on this channel because I know what I'm doing as it relates to selling houses to first-time home buyers. I started my career in the trenches. I've rolled my sleeves up, and I have dedicated my career to working with first-time buyers. And my passion is older buyers like you that are on this channel. So be encouraged. Subscribe to the channel. If I'm speaking into your life and you feel like this girl is talking directly to me, she is sparking something in me that's motivating me to call the loan officer, to call the realtor, to get started, to get out on Sundays and look at some open houses. If I am pushing you and challenging you to get started, good. Subscribe. Don't turn that off. Listen to that voice. Listen to your heart that's telling you she is speaking to me. I'm giving you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, up to 12 months to become a homeowner, because that's all it takes, my friend. Less than 12 months, you should be in a home. So this time, next year, you shouldn't even be watching these videos anymore. You should just be sharing these videos with your family and friends. Like, check out this girl. She gonna help you get there. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And I will be seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Pull that trigger.